All right, so think about this. What happens when a home improvement project isn't about, a new kitchen or a fancy bathroom, but it's about stopping a crime in progress? Yeah, you heard that right. We're going to break down a really unique project that started with a bizarre crisis and had to be pulled off from start to finish in just a matter of days. Okay, so every good story has a beginning, right? Well, this project didn't kick off with blueprints or a Pinterest board. Nope. It started with a full blown emergency. Let's dive into part one, the land crisis. I want you to really think about this for a second. I mean, forget someone stealing your wallet or even your car. What would you do if someone was literally stealing the ground from under your house? It sounds crazy, I know, but that's the bizarre, super urgent problem that got this whole thing started. So here's the deal, and it's almost hard to believe. The guy in charge of this, Yim, he finds out that someone is literally digging up and hauling away soil from his mom's property. This wasn't just, simple theft. It was creating a really dangerous situation, making the land totally unstable. So taking action wasn't just a good idea, it was an absolute necessity. So with the land literally vanishing day by day, what do? Well, there was really only one solution: build a barrier, and fast. And that brings us right into part two, the mission to build the wall. Now, what's just incredible here is the speed. I mean, just look at this timeline. The whole thing kicks off on March 16th, and by April 1st, it's completely done. We're talking foundation, the main wall, even the plastering, all of it in just over 2 weeks. For any kind of construction project, that is just an absolutely astonishing pace. So how on earth did they pull this off so fast? Well, they had 5 super logical, hyper-efficient steps. First up, prep. They had to bring in 100 truckloads of soil just to backfill what was stolen. Then a super solid foundation with 28 support poles. Next, the brick wall goes up. Then they reinforce it with plaster and an extra support beam for good measure. And finally, the finishing touches. You can see every single step was deliberate and incredibly quick. Of course, that kind of speed and that much work, it doesn't come for free. So for part 3, let's do what we always love to do. Let's follow the money and get into the cost breakdown. And here it is, the grand total: 138,026 Thai baht. Now to put that in perspective, that's roughly around 3,700 US dollars. For a project that literally solved a major land crisis in 2 weeks, wow, that number is pretty remarkable. But the question is, where did all that money actually go? This chart gives us a perfect bird's eye view. So, the biggest piece of the pie, at 42%, was labor and all the miscellaneous on-site expenses. That's the people power you need to move this fast. Then, get this, a full third of the entire budget went just to replacing the stolen soil. And that leaves the last quarter for all the actual physical materials to build the wall itself. And for those of you who really love digging into the details, here's the specific log. You can see it right there: 45,000 baht for the landfill, almost 35,000 for building materials, and over 58,000 for labor and just the daily costs of keeping the crew going. No hidden fees, nothing complicated, just a super clear, transparent record of every single baht spent. Okay, so we've got the timeline and we've got the budget. But what was the secret ingredient that really made this all work so well? That brings us to our final and, honestly, the most important piece of this whole puzzle. Part 4, the project manager. See, the project manager, Yim, he wasn't just some guy signing checks from an office, no way. He was the driving force behind this entire thing. He was making critical structural decisions on the fly, like adding that extra reinforcing beam. He was on site every single day, tracking the progress, keeping that meticulous expense log we just saw, and honestly, the most impressive part? He did all of this while still working his regular job. This wasn't just a gig for him. You can tell this was a personal mission. So when you boil it all down, the key takeaway here is pretty simple. The success of this project wasn't just about concrete and bricks. It was about management. The secret ingredient was having a dedicated, hands-on manager who was completely invested in the outcome. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? In any project, big or small, isn't that personal investment the one thing you really can't put a price on?